Jared Kushner, son-in-law of President Donald Trump, has agreed to be interviewed by the Senate committee investigating possible interference by Russia in the 2016 presidential election. WSJ executive Washington editor Jerry Seib joins us with details from our Washington bureau. Hi, Jerry. Kushner was the primary point of contact with foreign governments for the Trump campaign. Do you see this as being an informational interview, or does the Senate committee hope to get more than that?
Well, it's kind of hard to know given how cryptic the information is. But I think what we do know is that Jared Kushner, as you said, was the transition point of contact between the incoming Trump administration and foreign governments. And that as part of that exercise, he held one meeting himself with the Russian ambassador to the U.S., brokered a second meeting, and also met with a bank, the CEO of a bank, a Russian bank, that has been sanctioned by the U.S. because of the Russian incursion into Ukraine. So there were several points of contact that are publicly known between Jared Kushner and Russian representatives, and I think that's going to be the specific focus of the questioning from the Senate Intelligence Committee, or most likely to be the case.
So can we expect to learn specifically what was discussed in those 3 meetings you just mentioned?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what the Senate is going to be asking him about. What the White House has said was that nothing of much significance or substance was discussed in those conversations, that they were attempt to open up a dialogue, and that the meeting with the Russian ambassador was specifically to talk about ways in which the U.S.-Russian relationship might be improved. If it's at that sort of high level and without a lot of specificity, then there won't be much controversy there. If there were specific conversations about lifting sanctions, for example, or other kinds of business that might involve the U.S. attempt to impose economic penalties on Russia at a time when Jared Kushner was still running his own family business in New York, that might make it a little more sticky.
Absolutely. And Kushner is not the only aide to President Trump the Senate has on its list of people it wants to speak with. Who else is on that list?
Right. Well, I think it's first important to remember there are 2 parallel investigations going on. One in the House Intelligence Committee, and the one we're talking about now is the one that hasn't really gotten rolling yet in the Senate Intelligence Committee. The House got a lot of attention a week or so ago when it had a public hearing with James Comey, the head of the FBI. And in their investigation, they have said that Paul Manafort, who was the chairman and the CEO of the Trump campaign during much of the summer around the time of the Republican National Convention, that he has said he will come to appear. And then more generically, I think Carter Page and Roger Stone, both kind of less formal Trump advisors who've also had contacts with Russians over the years, have said they're happy to come forward and investigate, to testify to investigators to clear up questions. So we're going to see not just Jared Kushner, but it appears several, maybe a long string of Trump advisors eventually talking about this subject.
All right, Jerry, and where does the investigation into Russian interference during the 2016 election stand at this point? Remind us of the exact allegations from the U.S. intelligence community and the Russian response.
Well, the core issue is whether Russia attempted to influence the 2016 presidential campaign and to, in that effort, help Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton. I think everybody has acknowledged that Russian hackers broke into Democratic email systems and probably helped distribute some of the stolen emails that they had. The question really is, was that done simply to disrupt the democratic process in the U.S. or specifically to hurt Hillary Clinton and help Donald Trump? And the key question, was it done in some kind of collusion with the Trump campaign? Did they know? Did they cooperate? Did they help facilitate in any way this kind of activity by the Russians? That's the core element. Then, of course, the President Trump threw a wrench into the works a few weeks ago by charging that in this same period that we're talking about, the Obama administration tapped into his phones at Trump Tower to surveil him and his organization. That's been denied by the FBI and by various Republican and Democratic leaders in the intelligence committees on the Hill. But nonetheless, it's out there, and these committees are going to look into that as part of this investigation as well. So it's potentially a very broad-ranging inquiry.
Absolutely. And separately, to bring it back around to Kushner, he has been tapped to oversee a new White House office that aims to bring private sector efficiency to Washington. What more can you tell us about his role here and the goals of this new office?
It's pretty general at this point, and not, by the way, the first time somebody has come in and said, I'm going to try to do what the Kushner operation is going to try to do, inject business-like efficiency into the government. But the one thing I think we do know is that he'll have a pretty wide range of power and authority because of his relationship with the president. You know, a lot of people who've tried to do this do it from kind of an obscure bureaucratic post. This is Jared Kushner, maybe the most important advisor to the president in some ways, who will be acting and speaking in his authority. So we'll see where it goes, but wherever it goes, it'll get more attention than similar efforts like this have in the past.
Absolutely. Jerry Seib in Washington, thank you so much for that.
Sure, happy to be with you.